course, who've been here for a number of years, we are all familiar with the delightful Miriam Larsen-Barr, who is not only a well-known poet in her own right, but also a previous MC of this hallowed institution, an editor, writer, winner of so many awards.
So many.
This is basically because
not many.
Yeah, I forgot to bring the blurb along with me. So, without any further ado, please welcome everybody the spectacular Miriam.
So this was always going to be a little bit of an experiment, but it was an experiment that was designed to be at the thirsty dog.
I think it works better here.
So it might be good, it might be tricky. You're just going to have to kind of like bear with me. It's double experiment. I'm breaking all of my rules about no disclaimers right now. Double experiment. So I've brought a selection of like found language poems of varying variety. So you could kind of like strap in for a little bit of a random night and just kind of let your mind go wherever it goes. And I'm going to try and build a bit of an installation that kind of goes with that set as we go. So it's like multitasking central, which isn't really one of my fortes. I don't know quite what I was thinking, but that's what we're going to do. So in my mind, I was thinking this would be quite a small room, and it sort of wouldn't matter if sometimes I had to move away from the microphone
We
to
can
do
still
things
hear
with my little thing. So
Yeah. We can still hear.
I'm going to try not to do that. I'm going to try and stick with speaking here, but I am still going to have to move away from the microphone. So just bear with me with the pauses and different things that are kind of inevitably going to happen. And I'm not going to say anything more than that. If you want to know what sources I found the poems in, I like to call them stolen, but Rachel says I have to call them found. I can let you know later.
So stolen.
You are. Don't heckle me. Okay, so, sing. This, for tonight, is a timeline and a lifeline, a horizon line and a washing line. I am hanging myself out to dry. The artist who has become an old man says you have to suck your inspiration from your own thumb, from inside yourself. The world is in there in whatever way it has filled you. He has a war, more than one. The knowledge of what it is to lie buried beneath rubble of bomb blast and the ruins of his work. I have listened to his story, so I have this within me too. Lying on the couch, under the crooked blanket my mother knitted, with the tip of my thumb in my mouth, my catalogue of the world. You might have to come closer if you want. This is a list of things I have been. Shadow, shell, crater lake, horizon, cage, and life raft. So these next ones are 2 from my book. It turns out they're part of a trilogy, but I didn't know that until about 10 years later when I just recently wrote the 3rd instalment. So you might know some of these if you've been at Miriam readings before. Love, we will one day plant a garden together around a house we do not have to move from because the rent went up or the landlord wanted to sell. You will plant the magnolia saplings, the apple tree, a lemon, the row of feijoa. I would like for there to be freesias so we know it is spring, and jonquils so we know it is nearly coming. There will be marigolds for the love spell you made growing over our footprints. And there must be a rose bush so we can take time there, and violets in all the shady places, because these are the flowers of sadness, and even sadness will have its space. So, sunflowers in the corner for Sue, behind a vegetable patch, and my grandmother's orchids. You will plant the golden queen peach tree for the end of summer, and the magnolia will flower in late winter when it is cold. My body is not a clock. It has driftwood in it, 4 stone adzes, a beech tree, Coldy, a stand of kahikatea in the swamp, 6 pieces of broken glass on the tide line, 5 of them polished, smooth. My body is not a clock. It has the sound of wind arriving in the trees, a 2 a.m. cargo train, a man sleeping, my breath, the seas. My body is not a clock. It is moons and cycles, the tide, an orchard. It is story. Wherewithal is a thumb-sized nymph who protects the mouth of a river where a tangi wha guards green stones from travellers. She goes by the name Nail. Has the look of a wind-blown dandelion seed, her magic a powder made from the whiskers cut from the cat who lives in the moon. Nail is always smiling, but she has riddles within her, waiting for you. Her body is not a clock, it is a story. My body is not a clock. It is a story, and in the story there is a child counting as far as it can go, learning time as though it were numbers. My body is not a clock, it is a story, and in the story there is a woman with her belly and her birth pains. Her feet are covered in dirt. She has marathons in her thighs. Her body is not a clock, it is a story. My body is not a clock, it is a story. It is a story, and in the story, 2 red apple trees are waiting for some kind of summer to fruit. there's our apple tree. Our apple tree is actually a cross section of a human ovary, which gives you a little clue. To my future bloodline, I'm sorry. It is highly likely you will not exist. I have nothing to add, just foolish wishes to transmogrify in the way nature does, so automatically it seems almost magic. The science of me does not add up the way I assumed it would. My ancestors' stories will cease to exist, as if I have killed them off. You, who might have been, will not be. I have killed you too, murderer. Last week, my mother said, maybe it is best that way. Deep down under the earth, the water tables have become carcinogens. The forests are burning. The atmosphere has a belly full of carbon. The houses cost too much to live in. They build them all without gardens now. I would have wanted you to know the truth of swimming the river in summer, of walking Salt Spray Beach in solitude, of planting a tree in your own backyard. Simple, basic things we have taken for granted. The way I might have stroked your forehead at night and taught you early how to carry a big heart in a little chest. So despite how heavy it might get, it can never sink you. It is an anchor, not a lodestone. No matter how big the feelings get, they can never get bigger than you. See, look at the way your ribs can expand with every little breath. Notice the clear, fresh air on your face, your feet on the ground of this green planet in its precious, endless blue. Foolish wishes that defy all logic, yet still I float them up every month and wait. If you don't come to my calling, I'm sorry. And if you do, I'm sorry. I wish the objects have moved around in transit. Up to you. Alright, strap in, we're going into the random section of the evening. Lark, at this moment, I want to say there's a problem. It's only about 16% of the still woman in me or less. However, dramatically, the whole is on a path towards explosion. Though it continues to grow home, a fifth of me is ready and has been for nearly 20 years. So I protect the right of this vessel to hunt, whose intense sound pulses have been linked to strandings, but is not the lone villain. A ship towing air, gunfire buried under the sea floor. Oh, to be heard hundreds of miles away, undersea, in the rising tide of noise, as is. Simply. It doesn't have to be lethal to be a problem, you know. Consider the party that has to end, security, age, our responses to a problem that exists throughout the world. Will there be enough? The answer is no. Fall low, transition, rest. After directing the highest geographic feature in the 175 square mile floodplain of me, I have a bird's eye view of the land under sway. Of course, that scenario presumes we know that which we don't. We don't even know the name is borrowed. The people who live here call themselves left behind, a scattering of meagre clues. The lowest C on a piano, I generate on most days the bioacoustics of whales and coastal waters. One shrinks to only 10 or 20% of its natural extent. Lark studies anger, the whales who ping for port, and is listening from the years, continuous, complete, under colour animations of the show. Can't get them all out at the same time. Okay. Moonface tells me there's no point glowing if you can't be seen, but I don't believe her. Lunar woman is spitting bruises into her moonbeam camouflage suit. Shadow me up before the clouds go passing, she says. I'll blend way into the storm of our seas. I wake up asleep, and in the dream we go swimming, but I can't get wet. You are there, Scarecrow Patch, Tin Man, Lion, and we go swimming, but we can't get wet. In the the other dream, you speak and I speak, and our mouths move, but the sound glitches out. I have forgotten your name, so I call you Samson. We take elephants to drink at the river's edge with us, and we can speak only of the heat. We do not mention the rapids or the rocks or the places we carry them in. I wanted to say, hey, Samson, your wife stole all your hair, yet look what she gave up of herself to fit in the room beside you. But my mouth moves, and only weather comes out. We're losing the heavy objects. You can. There's a poem in that also. No. Probably such a small one, I can't see it from far away. Heart-shaped rock. The hay. Listens to my magic. In the summer of wild wind warnings and rain, I am a monsoon. He calls me love and takes off into the night with his absent mind in a backpack full of medical grade cannabis, leaves behind a plate of fruit juice by the fence, fat, wet jewels in the grass by the boundary, to lure all the ants from the house, some kind of spell of protection, hangs all the washing out on the line, ready for the weather to turn, though it is days until the weather turns. The washing line sags under the weight of it. I sag under the weight of it. My gums get infected, like my own mouth is protesting against me and the futility of our words, my demands, his promises. My ears are ringing with it, like a bomb has recently gone off. Burst eardrum, can't shake it. The sisterhood says, how many times will you do this for him? His parents send me admiration. My parents send me worry. I don't know if I should hang my head in shame or stand proud and accept my medal. It looks like love from the outside. And this is what love looks like from the outside. Sometimes. But I am a monsoon on the inside. I think Surely I must look like a shell by now. Pale, brittle cast off. And if you hold me up to your ear, you'll hear something like an ocean, the howling wind. This one just sits. Open search language, download, watch, edit, Operation High Jump. The program is broken. Ration, test, consolidate, extend. Time always reaches the islands we build. We set up weather stations, reconnaissance missions, the crash, the killing, arm the crew we rescue later, these and all the fatalities of Operation High Jump and petty masks. Breathe and dive under all man, whoever you are. War apart. Chart expeditions to the Bay of Whales where we all begin. Oh, little me, I, a ship, a person, wit drawn back to our United States, late to the early approach of winter. We discussed the lessons learned. From the view aboard the command ship, the view peered in. The day marched in all Al Mercurio and warned measures of protection. The possibility of invasion explained that he was not trying to scare anyone, but the cruel reality is you could be attacked by one or both poles of your own polar experience. Pause. Observe the fantastic speed with which the world is shrinking. After the operation, a follow-up operation returns to the area, ground truthing the same old territory with interest. We all know that covers are readily available at cost. There may be human casualties, another crash. But surviving, remember, you have rescued the remains of the one called me already. You are a ghost ship, unloading, a safe ward for even your worst memories. I wrote that with John McNabb, a musician who had become really interested in Operation High Jump, of which there are bazillions of conspiracy theories. So he'd sent me a piece of music and I just kind of like took the wiki article to that and then the two of them together became something quite else. Yeah. Love is a lion and a scorpion, he says. Are you scared of it? Sometimes I am. Do you know what a real heart looks like? This is a picture of a real heart. This is a cow heart. This is a human heart. Kind of the same shape as a butterfly chrysalis. Love can be a cocoon too. Disintegrate you, put you back together, eat you whole. This is a room with a memory, the memory of absent things. 175 boats set sail, 1,000 empty boxes, 60,000 used keys. If you hold a key, it means you have a chance. The artist starts thinking about her existence and finds nothingness, works her way back, slowly, repetitively, tries to go home, but can't, can only go home to herself, dig a hole and climb out over and over again. The artist weaves thousands of overlapping triangles, one thing that is many, a flotilla of boats, a room of keys. Notice your old shoes don't fit anymore. The buildings have hundreds of eyes. The walls hold all the people's feelings inside. You make up your own story for them. Displaced objects, lights suspended in time, hanging there, like you, your limbs, the hands on the end of your arms reaching into the black depth of eternity.